What's up, guys? Welcome back to another sleep-deprived college student attempts to explain Arabic grammar series. So last time we talked a little bit about how nouns work, right? And we've only been working with masculine nouns in the homework that I put at the end of my video. And you guys might be wondering, well, didn't you also mention that there is a feminine gender in Arabic? Well, yes. And that's probably one of the most annoying things for Arabic students or for anyone learning language in general, is having to learn multiple genders and different nouns that attributed to them. So yeah. So typically people will have to memorize these bit by bit, because I'll explain this later, adjectives and all that other stuff kind of have to agree with the feminine, and the feminine gender especially is quite special in Arabic, and there are many uses of it. We will talk about it a lot later in the upcoming videos, given that my schedule is fucking consistent. It's fucking not. So usually there are two genders in Arabic, masculine and feminine. Those two classes mean absolutely nothing. If you're a freaking linguistics nerd, they don't actually refer to actual nouns having male body parts or female body parts. It doesn't mean that. It's just two different categories that makes life a little bit easier to go along with. So as you see, we have these wonderful words right here. Wonderful words written on the left side. Bait is house, ibn is son, and rajul, which is man, right here. And on the right side we have orus. Orus is bride, Malika is queen, and bint is daughter. So typically Arabic speakers, they don't even need to even worry about whether something is masculine or feminine. They already know it. But how do students learn it? Well, a long ass time ago, we would just have to memorize each of them one by one, which honestly, that fucking sucks. I honestly don't want to do that shit right now. So fortunately, we have a really big rule of thumb. Number one, nouns are assumed to be masculine unless they have some rule in it that makes it feminine. So let's talk about these rules or conventions. So the question that we should be asking is, what makes a noun feminine in Arabic? So let's get this bad boy started. So obviously, nouns that are feminine by meaning, anything that refers to like female figures or female people or whatnot, they're obviously going to be feminine, even though they don't look feminine. For instance, bint is daughter, imra'a is woman, is mother, and urus is bride, right? And they all refer to female human beings. So they are, of course, feminine, obviously, right? The next one is, we talked about this in episode 1. We briefly talk about the letter, the ta marbuta. And I told you that it really does not have any phonetic value besides when it's vocalized with fatha, kasra, dhamma, or whether it comes after nouns. And typically, you only see ta marbuta at the end of nouns, which is why in episode 1, if you do take a little look at it, you only see two forms of it, just the individual form and its final form of ta marbuta. So this letter is the feminine ending, and any noun and adjective with this letter is kind of guaranteed to give you a feminine noun. So for instance, ibna works, right? Remember, ibn is son, ibna is daughter, right? And oh yeah, I forgot to say this. Any consonant that comes before ta marbuta takes on fatha. So this is why we say ibn, ibna, and so on. So qahwa, coffee, that's feminine as well because it has ta marbuta. Lugha, language, is also feminine because it has ta marbuta. And Malika, as you saw in the previous slide, comes from Malik, which is king, and then ta marbuta makes it queen. Straightforward, right? Straightforward. And adjectives, which we will talk about later because they do agree with nouns, will, in terms of gender, will also have its own feminine form, which is straightforward. It's just ta marbuta. And in Arabic, you're gonna say kabira, which is big or grand. Of course, if you were to vocalize it, which I'm not really going to require you to do, if you remember from the last a couple of videos, if you do vocalize it, ta marbuta becomes a ta sound followed by whatever vowel. And of course, remember, we will talk about this in the next episode. we will learn the 3 cases of Arabic and how to differentiate it by 3 vowels. Straightforward. So for instance, kabiratun or ibnatun. It's the same thing, but of course, we're gonna unvocalize nouns unless we really need to. But yeah, that's really all you need to know about ta marbuta. It's a really useful letter. There are some exceptions, but I'm not really gonna go over the bare basics of exceptions. You don't need to be so concerned about that as of right now. So yeah, anything with ta marbuta is guaranteed to be feminine. And also geographical names. So if we're talking anything concerning places, anything with cities, villages, continents, countries, anything that's considered a place or somewhere you live is going to be in the feminine, even though they don't have ta marbuta or anything. In the screen we have London, London, as seen, China. And remember, if you look at this doubling, this little doubling diacritic right here, it's not el seen, it's as seen, right? We have this definite article, and this lam in el is assimilated with sod, right? As seen. And we have Philistine, Palestine, Misr, Egypt, and Al-Quds, Jerusalem, right? All of these are going to be feminine. These are place names, it refers to places, so these are going to be in the feminine. So when you attach an adjective to it, you're going to have to make it agree with the gender, which we will talk about later. Don't worry, no worries. And also, this is a really stupid category in my opinion. This is a really dumb category. Body parts, nouns that refer to body parts that come in pairs or come in two are in fact feminine. So this is a really stupid list that's a really stupid convention in my opinion, but you just have to memorize that. So yed is hand, since people come with 2 hands, yed is feminine. Rijl, not to be confused with rajul, but it's written the same, but with that same different vowel. You see that kasra right there? Rijl is leg, and since legs come in 2, that's feminine. Ain is eyes, like the shit that you see with, those come in 2, so that's also feminine. And also this one that happens to have ta marbuta, ri'a or ri'atun, lungs, and these come in 2, so those are feminine as well. The last category of feminine nouns that I want to discuss are nouns that don't have a convention for anything. They're just feminine because you have to memorize them. And then yes, there are nouns which look feminine and in fact look masculine, and in fact do not actually follow the past conventions that we established, but they're still feminine because, right? You just have to remember them. So let's go over these words. Ard is earth. Nefs is soul. Shams is sun. Nar is fire. And dar is homeland or house. So take the time to memorize these 5 nouns. And of course there's going to be many more, but these are some good examples of nouns are just feminine for no good reason. In the last episode, as you may remember, we have talked about that adjectives must agree with nouns in terms of definiteness if you're talking about a phrase. If your adjective does not agree with the noun, then obviously it's going to be a nominal sentence. Just refer to the last episode. Keep that concept in mind because we're going to use another way to make adjectives agree with nouns, and that is in gender. This is why we have gender in the first place. Adjectives must agree with nouns in terms of gender, regardless if you're making a nominal phrase or a sentence. So remember, your nouns don't have to necessarily agree with definiteness. Remember, right? If your adjectives and nouns agree in definiteness, you have a nominal phrase, and if they don't, you have a sentence. You have a sentence in Arabic. So let's just talk about some examples. I did a little typo here. Don't judge me. Okay? Don't judge me. Let's start with Rijl Saghire. Rijl Saghire. Rijl is foot. Remember, foot. Rijl is one of the categories. Is in one of the categories of female nouns. Remember, because that word refers to body parts that come in pairs. Feet come in pairs. So Rijl is, by extension, feminine. So Saghire has to also be in the feminine. Remember in your last chapter of vocabularies, you might have learned that Saghir means small. Saghir means small, and Saghire would mean small, referring to feminine nouns. right? This terma buta automatically makes this adjective immediately feminine. That's why this terma buta is super important. And in cases you don't use terma buta, simple. When your adjective does not refer to a noun that is feminine. When you get a masculine noun, remember? 2 genders in Arabic, masculine and feminine, right? El Bait, El Kabir, the big house, right? Bait is masculine, so Kabir is also masculine. How is it masculine? No ter marbuta. It lacks a ter marbuta, right? And notice both of these nouns have al, so it's saying the big house. The big house. It's the whole phrase. Let's keep going. Dar qadim. Qadim is old. You'll see that I'll show you this in the later vocabulary. Qadim is old. Dar is one of those nouns where you just have to memorize. You're just gonna have to memorize whether it's masculine or feminine. And dar is one of those irregular ones. They don't have any conventions. It's just in the weird category of it's just feminine because, right? Dar is feminine. So dar means home. Qadim, or qadima to make it agree with gender, means old. So a old home or homeland or old house, right? Let's keep going. This is an example where we have a sentence. We have our first sentence in Arabic that have gender incorporated. So this Ash-shams harra. Ash-shams harra. The sun is hot. Notice here, they don't agree in terms of definiteness. So right, we got a term of definiteness right here. We got a barrier dividing Ash-shams and harra. So the sun is hot. They're not united under one thing. Remember, they don't agree in definiteness, but they agree in gender. That's the important part. Shams is feminine because I don't know why. It's just you just have to memorize that. Shams is feminine, so harra has to also be feminine as well, even though they don't agree in terms of this definite article. Both may not have the definite article. That's fine. We immediately have a sentence. These last two I kind of want to emphasize here. Anta versus anti. Because they both mean you, and in fact, they're written with the exact same letters in Arabic. It's just the ending vowels that make it hard. And oftentimes, it's always those hidden short vowels that just get you crazy, that just get you off track. So you pay attention to those. If you don't see them, look for context clues. Look for clues that will help you determine how do you pronounce this certain word, and you're gonna get that in terms of gender. Gender is gonna help you out a little bit. So anta hadir. Hadir, Anta hadir. You are present. You're here. And anta is masculine, so hadir is also going to be in the masculine form as well. How is it masculine? No ta marbuta. So it means you are present, as in you are here, all right, right now, right at this moment. When you look at the other sentence and you say anti hadira, anti is you in the feminine, singular. Hadira means present, but also in turn. But we have this term muta here, so we have a notion of it's feminine. So they agree with each other. You see this? You see that? Boom. Anta hadir, anti hadira. And no, there's no definite article. If you're wondering, you don't really need a definite article for you, right? Because it's already obvious who you're referring to. All right. Before we wrap this up, I have one more mini little application for feminine nouns, and that is collective nouns. Collective nouns are nouns that refer to a group of things. So in English, we have words like family, army. Those refer to entire groups of people. Groups, right? It's not one thing like soldier to an army, but it refers to one entire thing, a group of things. So, if you want to refer to a singular thing in Arabic, you just make it feminine. The feminine form of these collective nouns makes it singular, regardless. And there are a couple nouns that do this, but for right today, I'll be giving you 3 examples that are in nature. Khajara, rocks, shajara, trees, and baqara, or baqr, oxen. So this logic is gonna work for all the others too. So I'm only gonna be talking about khajar and calling a day. Khajar means rocks, like a group of rocks. But since it's a collective noun, it may look like it's in the singular, and we will talk about singular versus plural in the later episodes when we talk about number and how to make plural forms. But this is one of the ways you can make collective nouns into singular. Hajar is rocks, and hajara with tana marbuta makes it rock, like one singular rock. Needless to say, with this tana marbuta, it is feminine. So make your adjectives agree in the feminine case, in the feminine gender, according to this. And all these other ones are going to have that same kind of logic to it as well. So I'm not really going to take the time to explain each word. All right. Now we're going to learn how to make questions now in Arabic. Questions. And we're not going to talk about how to make like open-ended questions like what, where, who, and all that stuff. We're just going to be talking about the basic, any old yes or no question. Questions that only have two possible answers or that are aiming for two possible answers. These are called closed questions. Where it's a really direct answer expected. Yes or no. So let's take the sentence Misr ba'id. Egypt is far. Misr ba'id. And you let's take the time to examine this. Misr is a place name, so it's going to be feminine. So ba'id is also going to be in the feminine, right? In order to make it a question, to say instead of saying Egypt is far, you want to say is Egypt far? You just add in hal. Hal is it's its own word. Hal, or add in this a prefix right before. So hal misr ba'ida or a misr ba'ida, right? And honestly, I've seen a used in books. I hardly ever really see it. Like you might see it in the Quran. You will see hal more commonly than a, but you don't really have to use these when it comes to spoken Arabic. Remember, this series is going to be talking about written Arabic, and oftentimes your written Arabic is not going to correspond exactly with your spoken Arabic because there's nuances that your written Arabic can bring. It brings a really formal situation. But if you're going to speak to someone, use your tone of voice to indicate that you're asking a question. So it's the difference between Misr Ba'ida versus Misr Ba'ida. Ba'ida. Notice that we're raising our pitch of voice as you would in English. Is Egypt far? Is it far? Yeah, it's far. Egypt is far. Misr Ba'ida. We live in America, of course it's far. Misr Ba'ida. Is Egypt far? So that's a simpler way to say it. So for the homework, all three of these are going to be allowed. They're going to be allowed. And also note the punctuation. Question mark. They're backwards. It's backwards. So yeah. Hal Misr Ba'ida, Misr Ba'ida, or just simply Misr Ba'ida. Let's keep going. I'm going to be showing you all the vocabulary from this chapter, or from this episode, from the material I'm nicking this from, because again, I'm super lazy. And also, before you even start, take the time to remember, or take the time to get acquainted really well with the terms of feminine and masculine. This book will definitely mark feminine nouns or masculine nouns if you need, if there's a need. But usually all of them are going to be feminine unless all of them are going to be masculine. All of them are going to be in masculine unless it indicates there's an F right next to the word, which means feminine. So take a look at this vocabulary, put this in your notes, take a picture of this, whatnot. You'll need to know some of these words just to make some dope ass sentences with them when we keep going with the homework. All right. Anywho, let's start with the homework. What is this homework? First of all, first exercise, is something masculine or feminine? Masculine or feminine? So, I'm going to be showing you a couple words. I'm going to be reading them twice. I'll give you the definitions, and then we will go over whether it's masculine or feminine toward the very end, at the very end when we offer solutions. So take some time to think about these. Let's go. Malik. Malik means king. Malik. Mahal. Mahal. A place. Mahal. Mahal. America. 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 Shams. Shams. The sun. Shams. Shams. Ain. Ain. Eye. As in, I see with my two eyes kind of eye. Eye. Bustan. A garden. Bustan. All right. Now that we got those done, take some time to translate these sentences from Arabic to English. Use the vocabulary. Use the vocabulary from below. Use the vocabulary right here. Should have a screenshot it, have it in your notes somewhere. Write it down a lot of times. Get acquainted with this vocabulary before you even start with the exercises here. So here are the Arabic ones. And here are additional sentences in English, and you're going to be putting these into Arabic. So brush up on your vocabulary first before you jump in, and before you get started with the homework, take some time to notice where is the feminine, where's the feminine, where are the masculine nouns at? How do we do this again? And of course, it takes some time to practice, and then of course I'm going to be offering you the solutions right about now. Let's go. So now we are back with our welcome back to the board. We're going to be writing down some stuff. I'll be giving you the solutions for the homework. Hope you took some time to figure out these yourself. But here are going to be my approaches to the problems that I'm going to be giving you right here. So in this one you had to determine whether something was masculine or feminine. Hold up. I may have to scroll it down a little bit. So there we go. That's masculine or feminine. So we're going to be talking about that. So let's get this thing started. Wait, first off, I'm going to I probably should just make this a little thicker so you guys can just read it clearly. All right. So first off, this word, Melik. And I did say that it was king, so I'm going to write out I'll write out the actual word right here, or the definition of here. So, what did we cover? So, basically, remember, determine whether something is masculine or feminine. Focus on what makes the noun feminine. Right? Focus on what makes the noun feminine. And what are those conditions? Does it refer to a female being? Is it a geographical location? Or is it possibly a body part? A body part that comes in pairs? Again, that's a really stupid, I think it's a very dumb category, but it happens. Or is it one of those weird nouns, one of those irregular ones? Those ones you have to remember. Feminine nouns. All right. So our first one is Melik. Melik is king. So let's just check off the list. Is it a female being? No. Is it a geographical location? No. Is it a body part? Nope. It is not one of those irregular form feminine nouns. So this is masculine, right? King is a masculine word, right? Malika, which I'm going to write it down here. Malika. Queen is in fact feminine. Why? Because of Tamabuta, right? It's literally Malik plus Tamabuta, right? Malik is king plus ad makes it Malika, which is queen, right? So yeah, Malik is in fact masculine. It means king, right? King, as we described earlier. All right. Next word, mahal. Mahal. Mahal, and I believe there's a doubling mark right here. Mahal. Again, an extremely should be another easy one. This is place. This means the word place. Take some time and say, is it masculine or is it feminine? Well, simple. It's not. It doesn't satisfy any of these. It's not a female being. It's not a geographic location. It's not a body part. It's not one of those irregular forms. So this is masculine. This is if you said it was masculine, then congratulations. You absolutely nailed it out of the park. You absolutely got it right. You nailed it. All right, next one is Amrika. Amrika. I believe I did give you vowel markings for this one. But I'm just going to write it right here. Amrika. And all the ones like long vowels right here. Amrika. So I'm not really going to take the time to mark it, but takes. Yeah. So Amrika is America. America. Let's take a look at these conditions. If you notice, this fits one definition. This fits one category. This is a geographical area. This is a geographical name. This refers to a place name. This is a place name. And guess what? Place names are feminine. Feminine. Exactly. It's feminine. Feminine nouns. Geographical locations are feminine. Geographical locations are feminine. All right. Next one is Shems. I believe I misspelled this in the homework. I did put a little edit note. It's spelled like this. It's sheen, meme, and seen at the end. Shems. I'm going to vocalize it for you right here. I'll just put the vowel markings right there for you. Shems. Shems means the sun. Take a look at these. Let's take a look at these feminine ones and see. Is it a female being? Not exactly. It's not a geographical location. It's not a body part that comes in pairs. But it is one of those weird, irregular feminine forms that we discussed, right? Shems is one of them. Shems is in fact one of them. And if you want to know what the other ones are, just look back in the video. So Shems is one of those weird, irregular feminine nouns. So it's feminine. It is feminine for this one. Nice. All right, let's keep going. Next word we have is ein. Ein, which means I, as said earlier, I. So if we take a look at one of these categories, is it a female being? No, it's not a female being. It's not a geographical location. It is in fact the body part, but does it come in pairs? Yes. Eyes come in two. Eyes come in two pairs. So this is in fact feminine because it is a body part that comes in two. Yeah, again, a really odd thing to have, but yeah. And ein these are the vowel markings you've read it. Bustan is like this. Bustan means garden, and this is masculine. Doesn't fit any. It literally does not fit any of the other things. Bustan. You could argue that Bustan is a geographical location, but no, it's not a place name itself. It's not a proper noun. It may be a location, but it has to be like a given, like an actual. You know what I mean? Bustan is a generic place name. So yeah. So that is the first exercise. And now let me clear out all of this and let us get to the next homework. Let's get going. All right. So now we got the rest of the homework. What were the rest of the homework? Classic boring ass translations. So let's get this thing started. So let's start with number one. I'm just going to write it out here. Okay. So this first verse sentence, الساعة جديدة الجميلة مكسور, right? And then جميلة جديدة جميلة. Okay, so let's get a notion of what each word means, right? الساعة is watch or hour, but in this case we're just going to say it's watch. جديدة is new and is beautiful, and then maksur is broken. And maksura is broken. All right, so what do we notice here? Let me just change this to red just to illustrate what I'm seeing here. So first off, we see adjective, 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 and we have noun. And guess what? Guess what? Take a look. Take a look here. Do you see this relationship happening? Do you see this relationship? Look. الجميل الجديد الساعة مكسور. This all united is an entire nominal phrase because it's an entire because of these markings. And also, did you also notice? Notice that maksura is not in this phrase. This whole thing would be the sentence, right? Sentence. But notice it may not share definiteness, but as explained earlier, the gender has to agree. Sa'a is feminine because of this ta marbuta. So it's obviously all adjectives that describe it have to take on this form. So if we translate this using this knowledge, we say the new and beautiful watch, new and beautiful watch is broken. So that's how you deal with that first one. The new and beautiful watch is broken. Let's get on with the second one. All right, this next one, هي ساعة كبيرة لا هي صغيرة. Let's just break up what we have. Let's analyze what we're cooking here. First off, هي is feminine. So is Sarah and so is Kabira. Notice all of these are feminine. And then guess what? This one, Hiya is also feminine. Sarira is also feminine. And guess what? Hiya can mean he, or no, sorry, it can mean she, but it can also mean it. So what object is it referring to? Well, it's all referring back to this Sarah, So we said this was watch, and we can say it, and this is a big or grand. La means no, so this is so la means no, which is direct opposite with nam. Nam is yes. I wrote that horribly. All right, so let's just see what we have. So hiya sa'a kabira la hiya saghira. So you can literally say it again because it refers to the watch, and then saghira is small. And you take the time to notice all of these agree with each other in feminine. All of these are feminine. They agree with each other with gender because Sarah is itself feminine. And so this watch takes on she form, the she pronoun. Hiya. And remember this indicates a question being asked. That expects a yes or a no. It's a yes or no question. So we can say, is it a big watch? Watch or clock? Yeah. Sa'a can also mean clock as well. I probably should write that down. Clock, and you say no. And then this next one is no. It is small. Hiya saghira, right? No, it is small. So yeah, 2 sentences in one. You're welcome, right? You're welcome. Let's keep going. Number 3. We should give it in Arabic numerals because we're writing in Arabic. All right. Hassan insan jamil. Huwa tabib. Right? All right. So now let's take a look. Hassan, as we saw in the first episode of the previous episode, Hassan is a name. Insan means person. Jamil is beautiful. Huwa is he, and then Tabib is doctor. So you can directly translate this, but I want to grammatically analyze this. He, right, refers to Hassan. Hassan is masculine. Insan is also masculine. Jamil is also masculine, right? It all adds up to each other. This itself is a phrase. by subject and predicate. This is subject, this is predicate. This is the entire thing. And then huwa tabib. Huwa tabib. This comma, I must separate this. Huwa tabib. And then remember, the notion, the verb to be is omitted in Arabic. But we will talk about the verb can, which does mean to be, later. We'll talk about it later. This is very depends on my schedule. Depends how far I get along with this. I'm not sure how far. So yeah. So we can translate this as Hassan is a beautiful person. You can say he is a doctor. Hassan is a beautiful person. He is a doctor. So that's how you analyze that sentence. That's how you officially translate that sentence. You start to see how it all starts making sense. Yeah. All right, next one. A rather simple one. We're gonna finish off this section with at least an easy one. So let's go. Al-ard wasi'a. Al-ard wasi'a. And I'm gonna put this alif bigger. Wasi'a. Al-ard wasi'a. So guess what? Guess what do we see? What do we see? What do you see already? Definite article. So we're getting this. We're getting this right. We get subject and predicate. Right? Subject, predicate. And then look, guess what? Ard. This is the original. Ard. And then plus al. If it's lam alif confused you. If it's lam alif confused you, yeah, it's a combination of lam and alif, right? And then ard is one of the words that you have to remember to be feminine for absolutely no good reason. Ard means earth, by the way. Earth. Wasia is wide. Wasia is wide. So what is this? How can you translate this in Arabic? So we can say the earth is wide. The earth is wide. The earth is vast. The earth is huge. Right? That is that. All right, next one. Next one is the last one. Al Khadima. I believe I misspelled this in the writing, but in the homework. But I'll write it here. I'll rectify this mistake. Khadim. Dang, I believe I misspelled this in general. Holy shit, I did. Yeah, holy shit, this would be Hadira. Oh my god. Hadira. Let me actually hold on. Let me see. Yeah, Hadira. Yeah, I misspelled it. Yeah. Hadira. This is the correct spelling. Of this. I was rushing. Sorry. It's the grammar series says sleep deprived for a reason. So khadima Hadira. Right? So what do we notice here? Oh yeah, khadim means servant. And then khadir means present, right? Present or here. It's an adjective meaning to be present, to be here. So what do we got? This and this, right? You should already know what are my markings significant what they mean. Signify. Why can I not find the right word? So yeah. And khadim means servant, by the way. Khadim is like the masculine form plus temabuta, right? So we can translate this as saying the servant or the female servant is here or present. All right, so that is that for translating Arabic. So now let's translate the English parts real quick. Here are the sentences that I assigned for homework right here. And I hope you took the time to translate them. And if you got stumped on some of the questions, some of these sentences, we're going to go over them real quick. So let's go. So first one is you are beautiful. And I believe I did ask for both genders, which is not real. They're not really different. I'm just wanting to know if you added your tamaburta, and do you know the difference between anta and anti? Anta and anti, they're both written the same in Arabic without the short vowels, but I explicitly wrote fatha and kasra to indicate anta is masculine, you, anti is feminine, right? Anta jamil. Anti jamila. Right? Jamila is the feminine form of jamil. Remember, you just add tamabuta to the adjective and it immediately makes it feminine. Pretty good standard rule in it. So yeah, that's the first one. Next one is the tall tree is dead. So the answer for this one that I was looking for is الشجرة الطاولة ميتة. Let's break down what this means. First thing coming up straight out of episode 1, we already see definiteness, indefiniteness. So we already know this entire spiel is going to be your subject and this is going to be your predicate, right? So we got to indicate, is tree in Arabic masculine or feminine? Well, the masculine is shajar. Shajar, is a collective noun, and it's masculine. In its grammatical form, it's masculine, but it's a collective noun. So that means shajar refers to a group of trees, like maybe a forest or maybe some woods or something like that. Shajara, if you make it feminine, it makes it singular. If you're talking about that one tree, it makes it feminine. It's feminine, but it means it has a singular meaning to it. So الشجرة الطاولة طويلة, remember? طويلة, remember this gender right here has to agree. And then ميتة, even though they don't agree in definiteness, ميتة has to be in the feminine. This grammatical conundrum is easily averted with this tamaburta all around, right? Tamaburta, feminine, all across the board, right? So this is the answer I was looking for the tall tree is dead. Next one is she is an ugly bride. Here I wanted to test out a couple things. Do you know your pronouns in Arabic? Do you know the feminine singular pronoun for the third person in Arabic? And not all feminine nouns will have tamabuta, but you still have to treat it as feminine regardless. So this is the answer I was looking for. Hiya urus tabiha. Right? Hiya, she, urus, bride, and qabiha, ugly. Right? One big thing. Urus is a feminine noun. Why? Because a bride refers to a female human being, right? That's a female. We're talking about. Brides are females. All across the board. So, hiya urus qabiha. Even though there's no term of wuta on urus, it doesn't mean that it's not feminine. Qabiha has to agree with the noun. So, this term of wuta takes place, right? So, all across the board, feminine. Even the pronoun is in the feminine, right? She's an ugly bride. Hiya urus qabiha. Next one. Is the garden clean? Yes, it is clean. هل البستان نظيف؟ نعم. هو نظيف. Let's break down what we got here. So, the first sentence, is the garden clean? So, to say the garden is clean, you just say البستان نظيف. However, we said, is the garden clean? So, we turned that to a question immediately by putting هل. Hal marks a yes or no question or a closed question. Remember that? Also, alif when put on the beginning words, but you don't really need to do that when it comes to when it comes right after a definite noun with al on it. So it's just hal. We keep hal. Hal al-bustan nadif. And you raise your tone of voice to ask a question. So, and then you answer, Naam. Huwa nazif. And what is this huwa referring to? This huwa is referring to al-bustan. I should have drawn an arrow right here just to indicate this. But huwa refers to al-bustan because al-bustan is al-bustan is masculine. So to say it is clean, you use the masculine noun refer. Remember, Arabic pronouns do not have gender neutrality. There's only masculine or feminine. That's it. There's only two. So it's either one or the other. So even though al-bustan is not necessarily a human being, it still has a gender. Remember? It's crazy. And of course, the adjective nazif agrees with al-bustan because there's no tadra, so it's not feminine. Also, definiteness, right? Definiteness, indefiniteness, right? It still stays across the board. Let's keep going. The new house is small. Again, this is probably a little mini review of what you got in the first episode, in the previous episodes. The new house is small. البيت الجديد صغير. Right? Masculine, masculine, masculine all across the board. Definite, definite, indefinite across the board. So basically, this has no feminine. So we should be used to this. All right, another one. This is exactly like question one. It's like the grandmother is beautiful, the grandfather is beautiful. So this from your vocabulary. الجدة الجدة جميلة. الجد جميل. Right? Feminine across the board, masculine across the board. And you notice the only difference between these two sentences is just that term buta, but it's so important. So important. So yeah. So I believe that should be it for the homework. Yeah. That's crazy. So yeah. And so let's see what the next episode is going to be about. In the next episode, we'll finally be talking about the three cases in Arabic: the nominative, the accusative, and the genitive. And with that, we'll finally address the issue that I have talked about before regarding how to vocalize stuff in Arabic. So you heard stuff as malikatun or malikun. The the an, the in. You may have been confused a little bit. So we're gonna clear the air about this vocalization issue, because last time when we talked about how definite nouns work, I've specifically said there is no nation. There's no nation in definite nouns, but there are nation when it comes to indefinite nouns. No nation in the definite nouns. I'm sorry. And you may have been confused what it means, because throughout the entire series, so far, I have not directly written the vowels for each one. The vowels that vocalize the end of the sentences, so you don't really know if it ends with n, in, or un. And I did say, okay, just assume all of these are un, and then vocalize un until proven otherwise. And so we're finally going to address that un and in issue, and then we're going to expand and we're going to talk more about how this works. And because in classical Arabic and in modern Arabic, even in modern Arabic today, the three cases still have their importance. However, though the knowledge of these are implied, and oftentimes you don't really learn it too much in your dialects in Arabic, or even modern Arabic. You don't really learn these. If you want to make clarifications, you will have to use these three cases, and we will learn how to do that. And we'll learn how to use the prepositions, and we're going to learn more about the idafa, or more details about that next episode. Idafa, prepositions, vocalization, and the main topic, the three cases. So we're still in nominative sentences, nominal sentences. Don't worry. We'll get to verbs, how verbs work. Before then, we're gonna deal with plurals. We're gonna deal with I got everything planned. Don't worry. So I really look forward to seeing this series develop. And again, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.